All right, what's going on, YouTube? Welcome to this video today. I am going to be sharing with you what I believe are the three biggest pitfalls or the three biggest things that's actually holding millennials back in today's world. All right, so I actually went to school, a little background by myself. I went to school and I studied engineering. And the reason why I actually studied engineering was because I wanted to be rich. I thought that by studying engineering, that was going to allow for me to end up being rich. So I went to school, as they say, got a good job. And as I started working, I ended up moving up in the ranks and eventually I got to earning six figures. Now, here's the caveat of actually earning six figures. A lot of people believe that that is a lot of money. And honestly, as a single guy, that is a lot of money. But something very strange happened. And what I ended up finding out is that I was living paycheck to paycheck. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, like, Matt, you're single, you don't have any kids, you were earning $100,000 per year, and you were still living paycheck to paycheck. Yes, that is very true. Now, the question is, why is it that I was living paycheck to paycheck? Well, the reason being is because I did not understand money. I did not have financial literacy under my belt. I did not know financial tools. And the things that I'm going to be actually sharing with you today, which really helped me, are one, I didn't understand financial literacy. So, financial literacy. Also, I want y'all to remember I said that I was an engineering major. All right. So if I don't spell these words right, then actually let me move this camera over here so y'all can actually see the words a little bit better. All right. So just remember that I went to school for engineering. I didn't go to school for spelling. All right. So don't judge me. So now, financial literacy is what I realized I was missing. The second thing that I realized that I was missing is I realized that I actually did not, and this is kind of, maybe we should do this right here. All right, that's better. So also on YouTube, I'm recording on my phone. You got to get the multi-purpose content. So the next thing that I realized that I didn't actually know when it came to financial literacy is I did not understand how to manage money. So manage money, right? So, what exactly does money management look like? Now, many people will say that money management is you making sure that you're not buying a lot of lattes. They want to say that it's making sure that you're not eating out a lot. Well, I got a big problem because every now and then I like to go to Starbucks and I like to get me a caramel frap, a venti caramel frap with the extra caramel. All right. And then the other thing is, as you guys can see, I'm a little bit of a hefty guy. I'm from Mississippi. I like to eat. All right. So you're telling me that I can't go and I can't go out to eat. I can't enjoy food. And that is a problem with budgeting. But when it comes to actually money management is not budgeting. Okay. That's why it's called money management. Money management is having designated areas where your money actually goes. So when your money comes in, let's say that this right here is your income, right? So this right here is your income. Where is it that your money goes when it comes in is really the most important part, which is your money management. Now, most people will just get their income, have their money coming in, and the first place that it goes is bills. So you are actually not even really enjoying your money. What you're actually doing is you are doing an exchange. You get your paycheck one day, the same day or the next day, you're automatically giving it to somebody else. The next thing is you might actually be putting it towards debt. So when you put it towards credit card debt, because I was one of those people where I was living off of my credit cards. If I didn't have the money, I said, hey, look, let me go ahead and swipe this card. Eventually, at some point, I'm going to end up paying it off. And then what happened? I end up, instead of paying it off, I paid the minimum payment. Instead of paying off the $200, I end up paying the $50 or the $30, whatever the minimum payment is. So then I'm like, okay, if I'm doing this exchange, which many people are, and that's what I was doing, if I'm doing this exchange, I get paid on Thursday or I get paid on Friday, and now I have bills that are coming out. Then I have debt that I have to pay. Then you got your car note. Then you got your mortgage or your rent. So you got rent, you got mortgage. So now it's like you don't have control of your money at all. And that's really what was happening to me. I didn't have control of my money at all. I was like, look, let me go do this. Let me do this subscription. Then when I do that subscription the next month, I forgot that I did that subscription and now the money is coming out. So when it comes to money management, there are actually 6 things or 6 categories that you want to put your money in. And this is exactly what I use. You don't have to necessarily use all of these, but I believe that it's a good foundation for you to get your finances in order if you do not have a good financial history, or if you don't have a good financial base right now. So what you want to do when it comes to money management is, first, I'm a believer, so I actually pay my tithe. All right. So I pay 10% of my income. So the first step is tithing. All right. So I'm not going to do a lesson on tithing today to explain it. If you know what tithing is, you know it. If you don't, we'll do a video another day. But I tithe. So out of the 100% that I make, and let's say that my paycheck per month is $1,000. All right. For this example. So I would tithe 10% of my income right here. So that means that $100 from that $1,000 is going right into my tithe, right? So then what I end up having is, next I have my living expenses. So living expense. So with my living expenses, that is actually going to be 50% of my income. And this is actually how many people really mess up. And they wonder, how is it that the rich get richer? How is it that they're able to start from nothing and they're able to grow their money? And it is because of the fact, hey, how's it going? I'm trying to make sure that I say hey to y'all as y'all join. So a lot of people wonder, how is it that the rich get richer? And the way that the rich get richer is they live off of 50% of their income. So for this example, as I stated before, I'm earning $1,000 per month. Well, what I want to do is I want to live off 50% of that. So that's actually going to be $500. Then we're going to move on to number 3. Number 3 is a big one. All right. Everyone talks about you need to be able to save. And what ends up happening, I know what happened to me, is we have these big ambitious goals. We're like, you know what? I made this amount of money this month. I'm going to go and I'm going to save $500. And then what happens? Then you realize you got more bills that you got to pay and you start dipping into those that money. So instead of doing that, what you want to do is you want to start saving 10%. All right. 10%. So we tithe 10%, that's 100. We're living off 50%, that's $500. And we are saving 10%, which is $100. All right. So I personally believe that this should be like the foundation, because if you really look at this, just this area right here, this is 70% of your money. All right. This is 70% of your money before you do anything else. You have some money in case you have an emergency or something come up. You have your living expenses. So that includes your rent, your mortgage, your internet bill, your phone bill. All of that stuff is included in your living expenses. And then you have your tithing. So then what are these other areas for this 30% that's left over? This 30% is actually for you to improve yourself. All right. So when it comes to number 4, this one is education. Okay. Now, a lot of people think that education is going to school, going to graduate school, getting a higher degree, and all of that stuff. That is not education. That is not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is you need to start learning some different skills. You need to start learning something that's going to help you earn more money. Because really, truth be told, and this is not me, knocking anybody, but in 2025, if you are currently earning $1,000 per month, you are in trouble. You are in huge trouble right now, unless you're like in college, or in college, or you're in high school. Really, not even in college, but if you're in high school, if you are above the age of 25 years old and you are earning $1,000 a month, you are in serious trouble. All right. And what you have to do is you have to start educating yourself on how you can earn more money. And that's where entrepreneurship comes in, which we'll talk about in another video. So educate yourself. What is it that you should really be investing in? So when it comes to educating yourself, one of the things that I really pride myself of doing is, instead of actually having a Netflix subscription, instead of having a Hulu subscription, instead of having an Apple TV subscription, instead of even having a TV or a video game, what I actually do is I spend money on books. Now, you may be thinking, Matthew, I don't like reading. Well, I didn't like reading either until I found out that there was some very rich people that wrote books, and they would actually share with you what it is that they did. And if you go get a book and it has 300 pages in it, and you just get one idea from that book can completely change your life. And honestly, one of the first books that I ever read, it was actually by Napoleon Hill, and not many people talk about this. And I already know what you're going to think. Most people are going to say, oh, it was Think and Grow Rich. No, it actually wasn't Think and Grow Rich. The first book that I actually read completely, and I actually read it in a week, it was actually How to Own Your Mind by Napoleon Hill. And it was his interview with Dale Carnegie on how you can actually control your mind and how you can utilize your mind to be able to become wealthy. So every single month, I have a budget for books. So for this particular education, that's going to be 10%. Now, for some people, you're going to go buy books. For some people, you're going to buy courses. For some people, you're going to go to seminars. For some people, you're going to go to live events. You should invest in all of those. And really, I would say reading books and getting yourself to live events is what's really important, because that is really what's going to help you get your knowledge up. Being around like-minded people, being around like-minded people, and you are going to be able to create a mastermind, as Napoleon Hill talks about. So going on to number five. Number five, you want to start investing in your future. All right. You want to start investing in your future. So this is basically, when I say investing in your future, this is money that you are putting over in a specific area, whether it's in a 401k, a IRA, maybe a life insurance policy, maybe you have a whole life policy, IUL, those different types of financial tools to be able to grow your money. And what you're going to do is you're going to put 10% of that over there every single month. And if you do that every single month, that is going to allow for you to start accumulating value for your investments. And then at some point, if you do that for 5, 10, 15, 30, 40, 50 years, you are going to be able to actually finish free. So this investing is actually your finish free pot of money. And that's going to be 10%. Now, this last one, number 6, this is actually my favorite one, to be honest. All right. And I honestly never heard about this one when it came to money management, but I believe that this is what is actually allowed for me to grow and really start to focus on my finances. And that actually is having fun. And this is 10%. Now, many people don't talk about having fun. Now, the caveat with this one is, as you can see with tithing, yes, that goes to your church. With living expenses, that's going to get spent every month. With saving, you're not really going to touch that unless a big purchase is coming up. With education, yes, that's getting spent mostly every month, or if you're saving up to go to a webinar or something, or a seminar. With investing to finish free, that's long term, that's like 10, 15, 20 years. And then with having fun, you have to spend this money every single month. All right. You have to spend money every single month for this right here, this having fun. So I don't care if you are putting $50 over there. You have to go and you have to spend that $50 every single month. Every single month, this one right here and your living expenses, they should be empty. Well, and also your tithing. But those are the three that should be empty every single month. You shouldn't be accumulating money within those. And when you actually do that, that is what's going to allow for you to start developing habits. Now, I already know what you're going to say. You're going to say, look, Matthew, that sounds good. All of that looks good. But right now, I can't live off 50% of my income. Right now, I actually am probably living off of 70% of my income. and maybe even 80. That's fine. I still want you to focus on these 6 areas, but instead of focusing on the percentages that you're putting over there, I want you to focus on just putting a specific dollar amount. Now, you may be thinking that that doesn't even make sense. Like, why do I need to focus on putting a dollar amount over there? Even if it's just $10 or even $5, why is it important for me to start putting a dollar amount on this? The reason why it's important for you to start putting a dollar amount on this is because you need to develop the habit of putting money in these 6 areas. If you are tithing, like, okay, tithing, yes, that's 10%. Living, it might be a little bit inflated. You might actually be at 70 or 80%. Saving, you want to get to 10%. But for these other 3 that are right here, you want to focus on putting at least some type of dollar amount over in those areas. That way you can just develop the habit of putting money over there. So this is basically, like I said earlier, this is one of the reasons why I believe that millennials are struggling. I believe that we have been struggling because with the baby boomers, with Gen Y, and we do not, or the information wasn't necessarily passed down. Most of the information I got about financial literacy was don't get into credit card debt, you know, go to school, get a good job, which I found very funny because they wouldn't let you go and start a business and get, $10 or $15,000 for a loan to start a business where you can start making revenue, but they'll let you go 60, 70, $100,000 in debt to go get student loans. And then now with Trump having this stuff come back with student loans, a lot of people's credit is getting hit right now. A lot of people have had their student loans in default. They've had them delinquent. And that is now going to be causing a lot of problems because people's wages are going to be getting garnished from these specific things like student loans. So I hope that you were able to get some value from this. I didn't want to take up too much time. There are 2 other things that we're going to talk about, but it's going to be actually a part 2 to this. And those other 2 things are knowing about entrepreneurship and understanding financial tools. But we will talk about those in another video. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I greatly appreciate it. If you were able to get some value from this, make sure that you go and hit that follow page or hit that follow button so that you can follow this page and stay up to date on when new videos are coming out so you can get more valuable content. And if you have any questions, make sure you put them in the comments below, and I will catch y'all in the next video. Bye for now. I got one comment. I didn't even see it. See, that's why I gotta get good at
going through the comments while you're talking.
Yeah. Oh, it was just one like. That's what the comment was. Somebody said, "Hey." Yep. All right.
So okay.
So I got that done.